what he says, we know it's true. So we believe it. Whatever he says, we believe because he's been through it. So that's key. That's huge.
Today is Friday, September 21st. This is the Cowboys Beat on CLNS Media. I am Ari Temkin. Loaded show today. We've got the Cowboys swing tackle Cameron Fleming, plus starting nickel corner Anthony Brown. We'll also get you ready for Cowboys and Seahawks on Sunday. But, in sports, we always want our teams to be smarter than us, right? I mean, you watch a good movie, good TV show. Think about Don Corleone in The Godfather. If you ever read the book, it's like my favorite book of all time. The movie's incredible. The movies are incredible. The book is 10 times better. And Don Corleone, no matter what happened to him, and there are a lot of great TV stars or movie stars, characters where this happens to them, but no matter what happens to Don Corleone in particular, he always gets the last laugh. He's always outsmarting somebody in the end. And what's amazing is watching them outsmart the other person and trying to guess how they'll do it and not being able to. That is what makes great literature. It's what makes great stories. It's also great in sports, too. As fans, we sit back and watch our favorite organizations, and they jostle and they do this and that, and we want to believe that they're smarter than us. So they're going to outsmart us in our beliefs of what the organization should do. The reason I bring this up on today's edition of the Cowboys Beat is because it's as if we have figured out that the Cowboys have placed the reason I bring this up today on the Cowboys Beat in particular is because I'm afraid that the Cowboys haven't outsmarted us. I'm afraid that the Cowboys, who the entire offseason spoke about the need to change their offensive philosophy, to not be beholden to one receiver, to overhaul that receiver room. I'm afraid that all of the changes that the Cowboys sold us that would improve their pass-catching unit as a whole, that would improve their offense as a whole, I'm afraid they haven't outsmarted us. I'm afraid that even though I bought it and was willing to entertain the notion that maybe they would, in fact, be better than we figured that they would be, I'm afraid to tell you that 2 weeks into this season, and there's a move the Cowboys have made that makes it hard for me to believe that they have, in fact, outsmarted us. So let's start from the beginning, right? The Cowboys had a wide receiving core last year led by Dez Bryant, and though they weren't highly productive, they were still fairly productive on offense, especially when they had all of their pieces, right? Well, the entire offseason, after getting rid of some coaches, some leaving on their own volition, but the entire offseason, the Cowboys sold their fans, the media, their team, that they were going to have a different approach and philosophy with their receiving core in 2018. And it was going to be for the better. They weren't going to have a Dez Bryant who would constantly command the ball and take Dak's attention away from other receivers. They needed a receiving core that could do all different kinds of things, could be interchangeable pieces, and could allow Dak Prescott to spread the ball around, to find different guys in different spots and not be beholden to one dominant receiver. They brought in Sanjay Lal, who they told us was exquisite at teaching the nuances of route running, getting in and out of breaks, being consistent. They had an entirely new philosophy with offense, despite the fact that Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan were still calling plays and the head coach. The reason I think now, only 2 weeks into the season, that they sold us a bill of goods, that they didn't outsmart us, is because they made the move to re-sign Bryce Butler this week. Bryce Butler was a outspoken, seldom used receiver for the Cowboys. Had his best year a couple of years ago and emerged last year in some parts, but then sort of was gone. Had some big games and then was gone. Poof. And then he hit free agency and made some comments about the Cowboys. He even said that he wasn't going to go back to the Cowboys unless he was going to have a starting spot. That's a quote from Bryce Butler after the season. He wasn't going to come back to the Cowboys unless he had a starting spot. And then he went to ESPN and he talked about all the different issues inside that organization, the locker room, and it appeared as though there was no question that Bryce Butler was gone. So he signed not the most lucrative deal in the world with the Arizona Cardinals this offseason and was released even before the season started. So he was at home on his couch. A guy that said he wouldn't come back to the Cowboys unless he was given a starting spot now was not on a roster. So the Cowboys brought him back. Sure, it probably fits a skill set that they don't currently have. He's a big guy, 6'3", could get down the field, has good speed, good hands. He's got a lot of pieces to be a really good, productive receiver, but given the opportunities he's had over the course of his career with the Cowboys, hasn't exactly shown it. So what does this all have to do with the Cowboys outsmarting and not really needing a guy like Dez Bryant and buying into this, having a bunch of different guys and interchangeable pieces? What does it all mean? Well, 2 weeks into the season, the Cowboys miss Dez Bryant. I don't care how they say it. I don't care what they say. They miss Dez Bryant. There's a chasm in that receiving room because they're without a number one receiver, a guy that lines up at X, a guy that runs those routes, a guy that can still be productive, a guy that will command double teams, that will command extra attention, a guy that is an important part of the offensive ecosystem. They don't have it. And I don't think the Cowboys are going to re-sign Dez Bryant. They've gone so far down the road. One, they're probably too stubborn in order to admit their failures or shortcomings. But two, because he sort of wrote his ticket out of town by calling Sean Lee Snake Lee and constantly criticizing the head coach and offensive coordinator. As long as Jason Garrett is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Dez Bryant's not going to be back with the Dallas Cowboys. But as we move further and further along during this season and we see the glaring hole the Cowboys have in the receiving corps, the hole that we were sold wouldn't be there, that they would be better, it was addition by subtraction. The more we see the glaring need that they have for a number one wideout, the more their stubbornness to prove that they don't need Dez Bryant in order to have a productive offense, the more their stubbornness will get in the way of maximizing the potential of a championship caliber defense and the offense that has all different kinds of quality pieces but is missing the one most important thing: a number one wideout. The same thing that the Cowboys spent all offseason, training camp, preseason, telling us they didn't need. I'm Ari Temkin. This is the Cowboys Beat on CLNS Media. You can tweet me at RE Sports, ARI Sports, and you can catch me on the Dallas Cowboys pregame show and postgame show across the Dallas Cowboys radio network, 105.3 The Fan. This week at practice, I was able to catch up with the Cowboys swing tackle, Cameron Fleming. Let's talk with Cameron Fleming on the Cowboys Beat, the Cowboys swing tackle, and how has this transition been for you? I know, obviously, you've been through training camp at the preseason and now 2 weeks into the season, but still, how's this transition for you going?
It's been good, yeah. I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to be here, of course, and just still learning, still trying to get everything right and working on it every day.
Is being with one team and then transitioning to another, what's like the number one thing that's the most difficult about it?
I'd say the number one thing is just learning a whole new system, learning whole new schemes. There's new techniques, basically everything you have to learn. You know how to play the game of football, but you kind of got to learn how to play the game of football Cowboy style.
Do you have a preferred position? Is it left tackle?
I can play either. It doesn't really matter. Wherever they have me.
Is that a difficult thing to sort of be ready to, at any point, during a game, be ready to come in at any of those tackle positions?
I don't love it. I'd rather no, but I mean, that's my job, is to stay ready, so that's what I'm going to do.
What's the difference between the left side and the right side?
Nothing. Left foot back versus right foot back. I mean, there's not really much difference.
But like, not vision, or I don't know. I mean, obviously, when I think about it, I think the same thing too. But nothing like as far as where you're looking or who you're trying to block or what the keys are.
No, nothing. I mean, everything's obviously opposite. That's the thing you got to think about. Sometimes you go from the right side to the left side, and you got to think that now you're on the front side as opposed to the back side and stuff like that. But like, there's no difference.
Is there a difference between the way Bill Belichick runs an organization and runs a locker room versus what you've seen here?
I think all football is football in the end, so there's not a huge difference between anywhere, I don't think.
Yeah. When it comes to the Cowboys' offense in particular, what have you noticed about it? A power rushing style of football.
I'm not quite sure what the.
Sure. What have you noticed about this Cowboys' offense in particular? What has stood out to you as you've sort of learned the schemes?
Obviously, there's a big emphasis on the offensive line, which I like. I mean, being an offensive lineman, it's cool to see that. I think it all starts with us here, and it's just awesome.
So is that, every team seems to emphasize the offensive line, winning the line of scrimmage. Is it different here? As far as a greater emphasis? Because, I mean, that was what you pointed out as far as, this is a team that's emphasizing the offensive line. So is it different here, or is it emphasized everywhere?
I mean, it's definitely emphasized everywhere, but I think a lot of the leaders, a lot of the players on the offensive line step up and lead. So I think there's just the biggest offensive line because a lot of the leaders are on there, so a lot of people look to the offensive line to.
What have you noticed from those leaders?
I mean, they're great at what they do. I mean, they're great football players, and they've led this team very well. Without
a leader like Travis Frederick, I mean, Joe seemed to really pick up where Travis left off. I mean, is that fair to say even from not just an on-the-field standpoint, from a leadership standpoint too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think it would be running as smoothly as it was if it wasn't for Joe out there pointing and yelling.
What about Zach Martin? Is he another one of those leaders on the offensive line?
Of course. I mean, I think all those guys are very much leaders and very much help set the tempo and set the tone of the team. So,
are there things you learned from them?
Of course. I mean, they're really, really good players. So, I mean, I try to suck up all the advice and all the tips that they give.
When it comes to the schematics of the offensive line, is there a lot of variance across the league? Because obviously there's a variance of the schemes of offenses, but how about offensive line play, the schemes of that?
I think there's a lot of different techniques and stuff like that, but as far as X's and O's, it's all basically the same.
Yeah. So is there a different technique here? Is there something different about this organization or this offensive line that makes it so good?
Yeah, but I think I'll keep that secret between us.
All right. What do people not know about Cameron Fleming? What kind of a dude are you? What do you like to do?
What do I like to do? I like to play video games and hang out. I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy.
What kind of video games?
Fortnite, of course. And playing the new Spider-Man as well.
Nice. So do you play against other people? Are you playing? I don't play video games, but I know that you get on the headset, you play against other people, right?
Usually on the headset, I play. Against other people, yeah, but I play with my friends from college and stuff like that.
Nice. So you guys still hang out? You still keep in touch with those guys?
Oh yeah, mostly through video games, through that Xbox or PlayStation.
Are you good at Fortnite?
No.
Why not?
Because I focus too much on football.
Is that true? I think there are guys in this locker room that are pretty good at Fortnite, aren't there?
Maybe I don't have the natural talent for it. One day I'll be all right.
All right, so what video game are you good at?
With video game, I'm very good at Madden.
Very good at Madden?
Very good at Madden.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that because you know football?
No. I think part of it's because I know football. I think part of it's just because I'm good at it.
You played it for a long time?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
No problem.
That's Cameron Fleming, Cowboys swing tackle, joining us right here on the Cowboys Beat. Anthony Brown, the nickel corner for the Dallas Cowboys, coming up in a moment here. But Sunday, 3 o'clock, the Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks, the Seahawks home opener. The Seahawks are favored by 2.5 points in this game, which probably is attributable to their first home game of the season after starting 0-2. But the Cowboys very much like the Bears the week before with the Seahawks, have a really good running attack and a really good defense, and they'll be able to get after the quarterback. So I really, really like the Cowboys at plus 2.5, even though they're on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. And look, if you're looking to get an advantage and make some money off of it, go to betdsi.com. They've been paying winners for 20 years. The top-rated betting site according to multiple betting review sites. Use your sports knowledge to make some extra cash, like the plus 2.5 play I just told you about for the Cowboys and Seahawks on Sunday. You can go online or use their easy-to-use mobile site. BetDSI.com. Fastest payouts in the industry. And BetDSI offers betting options for everything. Bet on football and other major sports, politics, reality television, esports, virtually anything. Go to BetDSI.com. Use promo code Cowboys18. That's Cowboys and 18, like the year. 2018. Cowboys 18. Your first deposit, BetDSI is going to match 100% up to $500. So if you deposit $150, you put Cowboys 18 in the promo code, and BetDSI is going to match you $150. I play there myself, and I recommend BetDSI if you want to add some excitement to the games you're watching. Again, BetDSI.com, promo code Cowboys18, and get this limited time 100% bonus up to $500. And go place a bet now. Cowboys plus 2.5 against the Seahawks this Sunday. Remember, it's only a game until you bet it at BetDSI.
Let's visit with Anthony Brown on the Cowboys beat. And how's this year been for you, man?
Well, yeah, just started. It's been fine so far. Week 2, we're going into week 3. Defense looking good. Just got to keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, what's it like to be a part of this defense that's, a couple of years ago when you got here, the defense was not not the highlight of this team, was the offense. Now it's kind of shifted in the last couple of years. What's it like to be a part of that now?
It's awesome, to see the transition, having the guys depend on us, and we out there making plays and doing what we do. We just having fun, really, and that's what we're looking for, just have fun.
What was your approach during training camp this year?
Just do my job, Don't worry about everything else on the outside. Don't worry about what people think. Just focus on your craft, improve your technique and everything, and get better.
Were you motivated by last season?
I'm motivated by anything, not just one season. I'm motivated just by being here, You're not obligated to be here, so you got to do work regardless. So that's my motivation.
What's Kris been like for you guys? It seems like he's just been a godsend, especially for the corners.
Yeah, he's been nice, man. He have our confidence through the roof. He having us anticipating on plays and playing a great technique. And, I love him, man. He brings real fire to the game.
What is it about him?
He's been the player. He played. He's been in our shoes, so I'm sure he understands what we go through. He's been on the winning teams, won Super Bowls. Been to multiple Super Bowls. Played with one of the greatest secondaries in the league. So he's been around. He's been through everything.
Is that he coaching the Legion of Boom, and then and it's not like we're talking about old defense. I mean, this is a defense you guys have watched.
Right.
How much does that mean? When it comes to his leadership?
That means a lot, because what he says, we know it's true. So we believe it. Whatever he says, we believe it because he's been through it. So that's key. That's huge.
What's his responsibilities during a game? I mean, is he constantly communicating with you guys? Is he communicating with the whole defense? I mean, how he's the passing game coordinator, but obviously also the secondary coach. So what is he doing during a game?
Mainly he's talking to us, just the DBs. He let the linebackers be, unless there's some passing, something happened with the pass. So he'll talk to all of us. But he motivate the whole defense majority, and he keep all of us with our head right, and he's just a good coach.
So is he joking during games? I mean, it seems sometimes like some good coaches would do that, kind of keep you even keel,
Well, so far, he hasn't really been joking so far, depending on the situation of the game. He's been pretty serious, and we've been about business so far.
What is it? Do you prefer to play inside, play the slot? Do you prefer to play outside? Do you not care?
I don't care, Inside, outside, they all pay good, so I don't care.
What's the difference?
It's really no different. You just guard. You still guarding the man. It's just different. You inside, more space. That's all.
And more space on the outside, and more space on the inside.
Inside.
Yeah, interesting.
Inside.
I would have thought it'd be more congested on the inside.
Nah, because outside you got out of bounds. So
that's a good point.
You don't have too much space.
But is it like? I mean, you're not necessarily when you're on the outside. You're looking. Is this guy going to go 9 routes? Is he going to beat me deep? I mean, do you not? I mean, is it a different mentality?
No, you have the same thing on the inside.
Still go the same thing.
Right.
What about how you guys are playing as a unit? Obviously we think of the offensive line being about having cohesion. What has it been like for you guys in that secondary, having that cohesion, especially with the safeties?
We've been great right now. We got our communication going good, and during the week we prepare so well to where we already know like what we're expecting when we get on the field. So if everybody communication got to be on point, and it's just moving like clockwork right now, and I love it.
Have you noticed a difference about Byron? Obviously being a corner now, switching back from safety.
Byron's just Byron, man. He a different guy, but he's been playing well, and he stepped up to the plate, and I love it, man. I love the way all our secondary guys playing right now. We got X coming back this weekend. Kayvon been playing great in the secondary too, so I love the way all our guys been playing.
I think guys, outside the locker room, we're talking positively about the corners, really all through camp and through the regular season, but the safeties, right? They took a lot of heat, and a lot of people were questioning their ability. Are those guys motivated by that?
I feel like those guys stepping up to the plate. They making plays. I feel like everybody doing their job. So how can you hate on the guy right now?
How much different schematically is this defense with Kris Richard here? Is it?
It's the same players. It's the same philosophy. We got a different mindset. I feel like that's all. We just going out there, not taking nothing, not taking no for an answer. We going to take what's ours. That's the only difference.
What's Anthony Brown like? What kind of things you like to do off the field?
Me, I'm a football junkie, so I watch football. If it's not us, I'm watching whoever else playing.
So you watched Monday Night Football last week?
Yeah, I watched Monday night. I watched Thursday night.
What did you notice from the Seahawks? Did you do a little advanced scouting watching the Bears and Seahawks?
I tried to, but it's hard to see from the TV version.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw what I could. From what I saw, they're a good team. They got a good defense. Their offense kind of struggling right now, but they still a good offense. They still got Russell Wilson. He's gonna make plays regardless. And we just got to be on our screws and be ready.
Yeah, he's tough because, sometimes you come off a corner blitz, right? But for the most part, you're not really worried about getting out to the quarterback. Does Wilson change that for you? Since he can run and get outside the pocket and get upfield?
Well, we had that same thing with Cam week 1. So, we just got to keep contained and just keep him in the well, because he's not a taller quarterback. So we keep him in. He shouldn't be able to see the line as good as a Cam Newton would, being 6'5", whatever he was.
Right.
And
basically tight end.
Yeah, we get good pressure. We should do fine.
So you watch a lot of football, college too?
A lot of football. I wasn't big on college back then. Ever since I went to college, I got a little big on it.
So how are your Boilermakers?
They're not doing too good right now.
Do you watch them?
When I can, if I catch them.
Anybody else in college you like to watch?
College okay. It's not. I don't like it as much as I do NFL.
Well, I'm the same way. So why for you? It's not good.
Been the way. I've just been like that since a kid. I just love NFL ball.
Who was your team growing up?
The Bucks. I was a Bucks fan because I'm from Tampa, and I'm watching football.
Have you seen Fitzmagic?
Yeah, I checked him out a couple times. He's been doing good, man.
Is he gonna replace Jameis?
We'll see. Why would you mess that up right now? I feel like just keep it going.
Yeah. Did you see what he wore after the game?
Yeah, the chain with the jacket. Yeah, I saw that. I knew it wasn't his immediately when I saw it. I knew it wasn't his.
You guys play the Bucks this year. Is it in Tampa or is it here?
I wish it was in Tampa. It's here. It's my second time playing them, but they both been here. I would love to play in Tampa, man. That would be the best.
You haven't played in Tampa yet?
I haven't played Tampa since high school.
How did you get out of Florida to go to college with all those good schools in
Purdue
Florida?
One of the first teams to offer me, so I committed after my junior season, and I kind of stuck with it, and that's just what it was.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you to Cameron Fleming and Anthony Brown, guests this week in the Cowboys Beat podcast. Cowboys and Seahawks, you can catch the pregame show starting just after noon on the home of the Dallas Cowboys, locally in DFW on 105.3 The Fan. And across the Dallas Cowboys radio network, I will be along with Jesse Holly with the pregame show. And, of course, the postgame show to follow should be fun. The Cowboys hit the road again, second road game so far in 3 games this season at 1-1. And, when you look at the Seahawks team, they're a shell of their former self, especially on the defensive side. A lot of guys that were a part of that Legion of Boom that are gone. Michael Bennett is gone. Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor is gone. Unfortunately for the Cowboys, 2 guys that had not been playing all year, Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright, both appear to be on their way back for this game, the home opener for the Seahawks. And along with Earl Thomas and Frank Clark, This is still a pretty good defense. It's not the Legion of Boom by any stretch of the imagination, but this is still a pretty good defense. So the Cowboys are going to have their hands full with their offense, which has obviously been, their biggest disappointment so far through 2 weeks. But on the other side of the ball, the Cowboys should really be able to tee up that pass rush and get it going Sunday against the Seahawks. Seahawks are going to be without their starting center and starting left guard, and even if those guys were playing, this is a horrible offensive line, maybe worse than the Giants, which is saying something. So this is back-to-back weeks now for the Cowboys to go up against an offensive line that's nothing short of atrocious. So the Cowboys' pass rush is going to tee it up. Randy Gregory has been practicing this week. He'll be back. Sean Lee didn't practice early this week, but did light practicing on Thursday. The assumption being he'll play this weekend. Xavier Woods will make his debut at free safeties. The Cowboys have started the season with two strong safeties basically as their starting safety. So, this defense has been dominant. 9 sacks in the 2 games so far. It should really get after Russell Wilson. The Bears last week had 6 sacks against Russell Wilson, and I expect the Cowboys to wreak some havoc for Russell Wilson too. Plus, Doug Baldwin's out with an MCL injury. He's not going to play. Brandon Marshall's a shell of his former self. So their number one is Tyler Lockett, and they've got issues at running back. Chris Carson is their better running back, but he's a 6th-round pick, and the Cowboys, or the Seahawks rather, really want Penny to be the guy, so they're going to force-feed Penny even if Carson's the better back. So this is a tale of 2 different teams, right? The offense of the Seahawks looks very bad except for Russell Wilson, and the Cowboys plays right into the Cowboys' strength of their pass rush. So the Cowboys should really be able to get after Russell Wilson. On the other side, though, this is an opportunity for the Cowboys' offense to prove, it's continuing to evolve. After week 1, there was a lot to be desired on that offensive side for the Cowboys. But they did some things in week 2 that gave you some excitement. It wasn't a onslaught of offense by any stretch of the imagination, but they went deep. They had Tavon Austin down the field on a straight 9 route. They put up 20 points. Now, granted, their offense stagnated a bit throughout that game, but I think as the season progresses, as they move towards, as the season continues, what you hope to see is more evolution from this Cowboys offense and play calling. And so it'll be a tough test for them Sunday, again, with Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright back in the lineup, along with Earl Thomas at the back end, and then, of course, Frank Clark up front. This is not as good of a defense as they saw a couple of weeks ago in Carolina, but it's certainly not as bad of a defense as they saw last week in the listless New York Giants game. So I expect the Cowboys to win this game, plus 2.5 points on the road, but we're going to have to see a continuation this week from what we saw last week from this offense. If this game is close, the defense will be able to keep it close, but Russell Wilson, don't count him out if this game is close. Again, I'm picking the Cowboys, plus 2.5 points. But if they don't put up points and their offense stagnates like it did in week 1, they're going to leave very, very disappointed from Seattle, and this will be a completely different discussion next week. I'm Ari Temkin. This is the Cowboys Beat. A reminder to subscribe to the podcast. Make sure to listen each and every Friday as this podcast comes out, and make sure to give the podcast a rating too if you have not already. Also, I stream every single day, live stream on Facebook, facebook.com/WatchPhantom, Phantom. Make sure to go like the page over there and check out what I've got going on there. And, of course, the Cowboys pre- and post-game show across 105 through the Fan and the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Be recapping Seattle, plus looking ahead to the Week 4 matchup at home against the Detroit Lions. It's all coming up next week, but for now, I'm Ari Temkin for CLNS Media. I'm out. Peace.